What's going on, guys? How are you? We got a pretty interesting stream today. It's not every day that we get to talk about a new miner right as it premieres. So this will be exciting. I just want to thank Goldshell for giving me all the information I needed for this. And they are semi-sponsoring the stream, if that makes sense. So shout out to Goldshell. This is their 5-year, they're having their 5-year anniversary. And they just wanted me to share this with you. But I know the thing we're really here to talk about is the new Echo Caspa miner. It's a 5.5 terahash at 1800 watts. So we got a lot to talk about with this. I'm excited to share it with you guys. So let's get to it. But I do want to show you some other things. They did drop the price of the KA Box Pro to $479. And right now, those things are making still about $2, almost $3 a day. Let me look, actually. I'll tell you exactly how much they're making. $2.68 a day as of today. Now, how long will that last? Well, we'll talk about that. And they did drop the price of some other things. Oh, and check this out. I ended up over here. So that's pretty cool. And they're also coming out with an AL Box 2 Plus. I don't know much about that. I'm going to try to get some information. And I'm going to share it with you guys as soon as I get it. So that is pretty cool right there, by the way. But let's talk about what you guys are all here for. The Echo, right? So it's 5.5 terahash at 1800 watts. Home miner, yeah. I mean, they're marketing as a home miner. Theoretically, it's a home miner. For me, I'm kind of like 600 watts is kind of like I feel like my cutoff for a home miner because. Like let me put it this way, right? If you look at if we look at how many watts are in a 120 amp 20, like, so here's the average circuit, right? How many watts are in a 20 amp 120 volt circuit, right? So you get 240 watts in a 20 amp 120 volt circuit, which is like the standard home, what a standard house has. Right? Obviously in Europe, you guys have 240. So if you take 80% of that, right? I know you guys, a lot of you probably know this, but I'm just doing this for everybody else. You get about 1,920 watts. So you can essentially put this Echo, this new miner, right? You can put the EK-A1M, which is what its official name is. The EK-A1M, you can put one of those and you can put like one small 100 watt miner like an AL0 or a KS0 Ultra, etc. So you can do that, right? Now, if you want to do that, I don't know. So you basically need to have at least one 240 volt circuit to really mine with this thing, because 240 volt, you get about 55,700 watts is what I kind of cap mine at. So like this will be going in my GPU mining shed, right? Now, I would think that if you have like if you have like a room where you have a devoted 20 amp circuit, maybe you could do it, but it's tough for a home miner. It is tough. Now we don't have the price yet, and I don't know if the price. I don't have any information on the price either. So I want to get that straight. Nobody has any information on the price. When I got all the information on this miner, I did not have a price, right? And we were kind of going back and forth, and I was like, well, do you know how much you're going to price it at? And they're like, we're just still kind of kicking it around. So what I've been doing the last few days, right, is I've been talking to Asic, talking to people who own Caspa Asic miners, right? And I've been asking them, I'm like, what do you think is a good ROI time for a Caspa Asic? Like a realistic Caspa ROI time? Because look, I know that this video is partially sponsored, right? And I know I'm definitely partially biased. But at the same point, like Goldshell has to make money on these things. They have to be profitable or they're not going to make them, because what's the reason? I mean, you have to make money on them. So what I'm getting at, right, is I was talking to people who've spent over $100,000 and no, I'm sorry. The cap was I was talking to people who've spent over $20,000 on Caspa Asics. I talked to a few people that have spent over $100,000 on Caspa Asics. What they said was, they said that they need between a 4 and 8 month ROI time based on the current price of Caspa. So if we go to Live Coin Watch, right, and we talk about Caspa, why can't I? There we go. Caspa. Okay. So here's the price of Caspa right now, right? Now 5.5 terahash. I have a calculator up here. I think it's wrong. I don't think this is right because it only shows $4 a day profit, which doesn't make any sense because my KA Box Pro makes $2.69 profit. What I've been going off of in terms of trying to figure out the profit of this thing, I think it's more like, so if you take the IB Link BMKS Max, that is 3,400 watts at 10.5 terahash, it's basically about half of that. So you're looking at about $7 a day. You're looking at about $8 a day right now. $7 to $8 a day in profit is what this Echo is going to make for now, obviously, right? So if it made about $7 to $8 per day, right? Theoretically, if you needed an let's go with the 6-month ROI time, okay? So it would be, so you're looking at they said 5 months realistically, and then like 7 to 8 months with how the price of Caspa always, like with how the yield always ends up. So if you're talking about like 8 months, right? So 8 times 30 is 240 days. Okay. So if you take, so we were making about $7. So if you take 7 times 240, you would need, this thing would need to be about $1,680 is what is, seems to be the range. So like if this thing say cost, so this thing has to be under $2,000, absolutely, for sure, in my opinion, right? Because if we go to Ice River, right, let's go to Ice River real quick, and we go to their products, and you see that the 12 terahash one at 340 watts is only $4,400, and I think the price is going to go down on that. I actually really do think the price on this was going to go down, right? So you probably, honestly, the Echo probably has no choice, right, but to cost, I would say, around $1,500. I think if the Echo cost $1,500, it would probably be worth buying. Because I think it'll give you, like, I think this thing reminds me of a Jazz Miner X16Q, right? And it'll be able to generate a ton of heat in the winter, which means that it'll be able to heat up a room. I think you have to be a little creative to heat up the room. But but yeah, so that's what I think, right? I think this thing needs to cost around $1,500. Catching up on chat, and thank you to everybody who's joining. What's up, Sadie? Zigminer says a new Caspa miner. Yawn. Yeah, I get it, right? But like, if Goldshell prices this thing appropriately, like, could you imagine if this thing cost $1,400? Now, obviously, it would kind of be a slap in the face to all the KA Box Pro guys, but that's how it goes with Asics, right? There's always something else that comes out. I have a KA Box Pro. At the price that I arranged to acquire it at was about $1,000. It is what it is. You can't do much about it. Now, I didn't pay cash for that, but I did content worth that much. So it kind of, it is what it is. There's not much you can do. But I think at $1,400, I think that this thing would be, I would buy it at $1,400. I'm going to put a poll up, actually. I want to see what you guys' thoughts are. Would you buy this for $400? Would you buy this new Caspa miner for $400? And like I said, I spent sorry, I can't talk and type at the same time. For 1,400 USD. So here's the thing, right? So one of the things that I find interesting is that, look, we know the Caspa hash rate has gone through the moon, right? And nobody saw this coming. Hell, my last 2 ASIC reviews didn't assume that this thing would go like it did, right? So like, it's August 15th. July 15th, we were at 5 petahash, right? We are now at 800 petahash. So that is absolutely bananas, right? We have a 300 petahash jump. But if you look at the last year, right, you'll notice that like from April, so if you go from like, let's go from January, right? January 1st, when I was talking about how the Caspa hash rate was going to moon, right? And it is 1.38 petahash, okay? Or I'm sorry, it was 138 petahash. Now let's go to May. So if we go to May, we'll go to May 6th. The hash rate only doubled from 100 petahash to 250 petahash in 5 months, which means that if you bought any Caspa Asics in like December, you probably did pretty decent with them as far as yield. We just happen to be in like a month where everybody released a new Asic and they're pumping them out. Usually there's like a little bit of a lull period, right? And even like May to June wasn't that terrible. So like May, so if we go to like May 6th, it was 243 petahash. And June, it only went up a third. So like that's a lot, but it's not like it is right now, right? So like I don't know. If you were to get, so say you got like 2 months of this before the hash rate went up, right? So 7 times 60. So you're getting about 420. You're getting about a third of your money returned back, right? I don't know. I think at $1,400 that this miner would be a solid buy. And we're only talking about the current Caspa price, right? Now, Caspa's fighting that 20-cent barrier where it hit it and it went back down and it went back up and it went back down, right? But if you're buying a Caspa ASIC, you need the price of Caspa to basically double eventually. And I think that, 32-cent Caspa doubling off of today's prices isn't unreasonable. Zigminer says they should have made a bigger Alpha ASIC. I think there is another Lithium ASIC coming, an AL Box Plus, which would be interesting. I can tell you, let me look. Hold on. I can tell you how much the AL Box Zero is making today. Let me show you that real quick, because I think they are releasing another Lithium ASIC, and this is just a guess, right? Don't quote me on this, but I think this is like a new style miner they're doing. So I think you're going to see a larger Lithium ASIC like this, something like along these lines. Like I think you're going to see a bigger EA1M, I guess would be my thought. So I think you'll see this in a Lithium ASIC form eventually. Now, if I'm looking at my KA Box 2, right? Yesterday it made 2, 5. It made about 9 Lithium yesterday. So the AL Box 2 made about 9. Let me look at how much that's worth. I'm kind of just going off the cuff here, guys. I just wanted to share all the exciting stuff coming from Goldshell. So $13. I think if you bought the AL Box 2 when it first came out and they gave you the extra one, and when I told you to buy it, I think you're still going to be okay as long as the price of a lithium goes up. Now, if the price of a lithium doesn't at least 2 to 4x, we're all screwed, basically. And there's nothing we can do about that. But you shouldn't have bought an ASIC if you didn't think it was going to go 2 to 4x. 99. Crypto Merkel says $99 for a KA Box 2. Are they that cheap? Let's scroll down. KD Box 2 is $99. Wow. So the KA Box Pro now is $479. So that's interesting, right? So at $479, right now mine is making, just looking at how much per day is this thing? $2.68 a day. Obviously, we know this isn't going to last, but $479 divided by 2.69 is a 178 day ROI. I don't know. So, like, at this point, I would look at the KA Box Pro as a heater. Like, it generates a lot of heat. So, like, if you live in a cold climate and you need a heater that can make you, like, a little bit of Caspa, I think it might be worth buying. But basically, if you don't think it's like a heater, don't buy it. But it's still, the KA Box Pro of $479 kind of forces down the price of the KS0 Ultra, right? Because, I mean, it's 1.6 terahash for $400. I don't know. The pirate says, I think Goldshell is out of touch with reality, but that's me. Too much power for a 3U home miner to compare with Jazz Miner. Yeah. So that, look, when I found out how much power this thing used, right, I was kind of surprised. I definitely was. But at the same point, the Jazz Miner cost like $3,000 when it first came out. If they price this thing right, I think it'll be okay. But they have to price this thing right. If they don't price this thing appropriately, it's going to be tough, right? Like they can't, like, this thing can't be $2,000. If it's $2,000, honestly, they have to price it correctly. Now you got to figure that they've had this thing in R&D for a bit, right? As have all the miners. And I think what you're seeing right now is there's a lot of pressure because all these new home miners are releasing, or home and non-home, right? And you have a lot of big companies buying Caspa Asics because it is literally more profitable, right? Like, if you look at these Caspa Asics, it is more profitable to buy a Caspa Asic. Like, look at this profit. Look at these profitability numbers, right? This is at 5 cent power. Let's do this over again. Hold on. I might have botched this. Give me a second, ladies and gentlemen. All right. This is at 0.13 cents kilowatt hour. So hold on one second. Let me pull this up right. No, I didn't botch it. I just got to change the settings on this. Here we go. All right. So hold on. All right, so I definitely want to be upfront here. I definitely did botch the profitability numbers of that thing, because I thought this was at 13 cents and it was really at 5. So this is correct right here, where this thing will make $4 a day, right? So this will make $4 a day. So if we go back to the calculator, right, we need a 6 to 8 month ROI. So if we go to 8 times, so my numbers were just wrong. So keep that in mind. Look, guys, I'm only human. Mistakes are made, but I want to try to correct this. So if we're making $3 a day, so we want an 8 month ROI time, 3-month ROI time. So 8 times 8 month ROI, 240 times, let's just say 4. Ooh. I don't know if this thing can cost $1,400. I take back what I said before. This thing probably has to cost 11 or 12. So this thing probably has to cost like 11 to $1,200. I don't think it's gonna cost that much. We'll see. We'll see, right? I hate to throw Goldshell under the bus because they've been good to me, but this thing has definitely got to cost about 11 to $1,200. And they're in the chat right now. They're saying that if the Goldshell is really pushing for home USA residential, it has to run on 120 volt. It definitely has to run on 120. I don't see why this thing can't run on 120. I will ask and see if I can get some info on whether or not it runs on 120, but I don't see why it wouldn't. And like we already talked about, right? We talked about a 24 amp 120 volt circuit, which would allow it to run on it. But yeah, I don't know, guys. Like, I don't think they're gonna. So Zig Miner says I pay 800 tops. I don't think they're gonna sell this thing for 800. They got to make money on it. I hope they didn't get killed on the R&D side. I think this thing has got to cost. Honestly, this thing has got to cost 12 to 1,300. It can't cost more than that. If it costs $1,300, I think it would be okay. It's not gonna blow the world out, but like, here's the thing, right? You got people buying Ice River Asics. You've got people buying the KS5Ls still at, $4,400, almost $4,500, which I think is too much. And Ice River is a sponsor of me too, to be completely transparent. But if we look at ASIC miner value, right? It's still making $9 a day. And you know what the crazy thing is, right? Which is why I think so many people are buying these ASICs. If we look at, let's look at SHA-256 real quick. Look at how unprofitable BTC miners are. Like, you are making way more money, right? You are making way more money buying Caspa ASICs and swapping into Bitcoin, which is what a lot of these big ASIC farms are doing right now, that are buying these Caspa ASICs, which is going to jump up, raise the hash, and put more sell pressure on Caspa, which is not a good thing. But at the same point, all of these miner prices have to come down, right? Because if you're looking at a KS5L at $4,400, right? 4,400, and that's not including, I guess, imports, because you got to pay imports on that. Sorry, I'm going back to ASIC miner value. If it's making $9 a day divided by 9, you're at like over a 1-year ROI. And I mean, so here's the thing. It's hard for me to tell you that it's okay to buy a Caspa miner with over a 1-year ROI when you only have about a year to mine on these things, right? Like I shut down my KS zeros. More on that in another video. I don't want to spoil that. But at the same point, if Caspa didn't go, if Caspa didn't go to where it was now, like if Caspa stayed at 4 cents, I wouldn't have ROI'd on those ASICs within a year. So you definitely need price appreciation, right? So if this thing is $1,300, right? Let's just say it's $1,300, okay? You divide it by 4, because then you make it $4 a day. It's a 325 ROI. If the price of Caspa doubles, it goes down to a 125-day ROI. So, like, you need the price of Caspa to double, or it's not going to be worth buying. You need to have faith in Caspa, or it's not going to be worth buying. And you need a heater. You need to use this thing as, like, a heater, too, or it's probably not going to be worth buying. DRU says older houses only have 15 amp breakers, except for the kitchen. Yeah, but you can easily get those converted. I have an older house, and I had no problem getting a lot of my breakers converted. I'm unique, but even before I put my shed in, I still had 3 30 amp 240 volt breakers. And it only cost me I think it cost me to do all of them. It cost me like $900. I ended up with 1 20 amp and 3 30 amps in my garage before I went crazy. Let's see. I'm sure it will be 120 volt, but 1800 watts is a lot for a home outlet. It will be the only thing running on that room. Yeah, it definitely can be the only thing running on that room, like we've already said. So, I mean, look, I feel like I'm in a rock and a hard place, okay? Because, I mean, you guys have to see it, right? I mean, I think this is cool, but I am definitely working with Goldshell on this. And I'm going to get one of these, most likely. I can't say for sure, but I think I'm going to pick up one of these. But it has to be priced right. And I feel like I hope Goldshell doesn't price these too expensive, because if they price these too expensive, I mean, that the price of these things are going to go down, right? And I don't think that they're that crazy to price this thing too high, because they already dropped the price of the KA Box Pro, right? And the ROI time right now for the KA Box Pro, like I already said, is about 180 days. And if the price of Caspa goes up, then that gets cut in half. And that is realistic. Like, maybe the KA Box Pro isn't a bad buy, especially when you look at what the KS0 Ultra, well, it's down to $200. So they're kind of like, I don't know, they're kind of like in an okay spot. Obviously, anybody who bought in the beginning of this, because everybody was excited, got burned. But that's the risk you take buying ASICs, right? What's up, Matt Electron? Hope you're having a good time driving. Matt Electron, it works actually in the same industry that I do in real life. And I've met him, and he's a real awesome guy. And Zapirate says you'll definitely need to replace the wires when upgrading the breakers. 100%, as I had that done too. Look, if Goldshell overprices these things, then that's going to be really bad. It's going to be really, really bad. But I think they learned their lesson from the AL boxes, right? Like, let's look at, like, if you look at the price of the AL boxes, right? Let me just refresh these. They dropped the price of the AL box to $2,100, which I think is still too much, right? I really legitimately think it's still too much, because right now the AL box 2 made, what I say, I'm looking at the results right now. 9.5 lithium it made yesterday. The AL box 2 that I have running. So 9.5 lithium is $13, right? So 2,100 divided by 13 is a 161-day ROI. But anybody who is following any kind of news with Lithium knows that the current Lithium hash rate is going to go through the moon, right? Like, we're going to, like, look at Lithium's hash rate in the last, let me pull this up so you guys can see this. Look, I'm trying to be the most unbiased, quote unquote, bias that I can be to help you guys make the right decision, right? So right now, if we look at from July 8th, the hash rate was 1.22 petahash, and we've doubled. We're at 2.71 petahash, so we've a little bit more than doubled. You better believe when all of these Bitmain Asics come up, which I would assume they probably already started shipping, that if what Bitmain said is to be believed, because they said it would start shipping mid-August, this thing is going to explode. We're going to end up at 5 to 7 petahash, probably in... Wait, so let me look real quick. So Bitmain, let's go to Bitmain's site. I'm trying to remember how many of these things had to go online to top a petahash, right? So these are... Where are you, ALBox 1? Let's go to Lithium, right? We're going to go to Lithium. So they're 5.5 terahash, right? I've got this neat hash calculator, right? So what did it say? 15.6 terahash. So I got this neat calculator, right? 15.6, okay? So 15.6, let's see, the first batch is 200, right? So we'll times 15.6 times 200, and that is 3,120 terahash. So that is 3 petahash, right? So when all those go online at the end of this month, okay? So that would put our network at, that would double it. That would more than double the network. So you'd be going from 2 to 5. So you would be going from making on the ALBox to right now. Where is it? You'd be making. Sorry, I have too many windows up. You would go from making $13 a day to like $5 a day. Probably like $5 a day. And then, right, we haven't taken into account the Ice River AL0. All right. So let's go back to this page. So keep in mind, we're already at I'm going to put a note somewhere. We're at 5.5 petahash, right? 5.5 petahash. So the AL0s are gigahash. They're 400 gigahash, right? Is that right? Yes. So I have confirmed, I talked to Ice River this morning. They are they are scheduled to start shipping at the end of the month. Okay. So how many of those things do you think that they've sold? Like, how many of these do you think that they've sold? 1,000? More? Let's just go with 1,000, right? Let's just say they've sold 1,000 of these things from all the resellers, from everybody. So 400 gigahash times 1,000. Hold on. 400. I should be able to do this math, but I'm tired and I'm bad at it. So that's 400,000 gigahash, right? So we're going to add 3 more. So that's 400 terahash, and that's 0.5 of a petahash. So we're already at 5.5 petahash. So we're at 6 petahash now. Okay. So the Lithium network right now is 2.8 petahash. So the network will double. This is just a first wave too. The network will be up to 6 petahash. So at 6 petahash, if you're making 9.5, you're going to be down to definitely $4. $4.50 at best right now. Catching up on the chat, and there's a lot of stuff going on. Zigminer thinks that there is more than 1,000, that there is 1,500 to 2,000 of them. So, all right, well then if there's 2,000 of them, right? Hey, Altered, if you're buying use my affiliate link if you're buying a KA Box Pro from Goldshell. DM me and I'll give you the link. Here, actually, let me post it. If you want to buy, and hey, I got a video I want to show you guys. Just give me a sec. Altered, I'm gonna post my affiliate link right here. Just give me 1 second, just so you guys have it. KA Box Pro, is it the worst buy? They generate, I will tell you this about the KA Box Pro. These things generate a massive, massive amount of heat. A massive amount of heat. Here's my affiliate link, by the way. It definitely helps me if you use it. But anyway, so if you double that amount, then you're looking at about 5.5 petahash or 6.5 petahash. So, hey, look, Zapirate, you can be honest, dude. This is like, I want you to tell me what you don't like. Everybody's got to be honest, right? Like, I am definitely a little bit biased. I am. But I do want to show you this video, by the way. It's got no sound. This is what it looks like. They sent me this, and they asked me just to share it so you guys can see it. It definitely looks like the size of a jazz miner, which is pretty big. So I don't know, at least it'll be a good heater, right? Like, it'll probably be able to heat up a full room. So at least there's that. It definitely does look like if it's taking US standard power that, if it's taking US standard power, it should work. And 45 decibels is what my knock to a cooler makes. So it's not that bad. But look, guys, I'm going to be honest with you. It's all going to come down to price, right? Price, price, price. If the price of this thing is bad, then nobody's going to buy it. That's just what it is. Then nobody's going to buy it. And then they're going to have to lower the price. So if you don't like this thing, just don't buy it. Fight with your wallet, right? Like, that's all you got to do. I am interested in what this ALBox 2 Plus looks like as well. Efficiency bad, too much power for home miner. Price is probably bad. 1800 is too much to heat a room. I mean, it's hard to argue with some of that stuff. Look, if the price of this thing is bad, it's going to be a brick. It's got to be a good price. It's really got to be a good price, or it's just going to be a brick, basically and honestly. So we'll see. We'll see. Sadie sometimes says, CPUs took all my money. I'm borderline homeless. Listen, we're going to pivot to CPUs probably in like a minute. I just want to wrap up. Thank you guys for watching this part of the stream. Look, it's got to cost under $1,500. It's probably got to cost $1,200 to $1,300 if we're being 100% honest. KA Box Pro at $479. Honestly, it's not that bad. Especially as a home mining heater. Now that I think about it, I kind of like it a little bit better. Because these things are, like, I am going to be moving a lot of these box miners into my home to heat up some of my rooms. Because I have like a 2-level home, like a split level home. And I have two different like, I'm trying to think of this, systems. I don't even know what the word is. I can't think of it, but like, I have 2 different thermostats on each level, and I'm going to try to heat the whole bottom of my house. Like, I'll have to leave the bottom at like 50 so the pipes don't freeze, but I'm going to try to heat the whole house with like home Asic miners, basically. Did they give you an estimated availability date? Yes, they did. They told me, let me show you where it was. They told me, I asked them any idea when it will ship, and they said it shouldn't be too long. So I would expect, based on that, probably in the next 2 weeks or so. I'll let you know as soon as I hear. But, hey, look, like I said, KA Box Pro, $479. Probably not a bad buy. This thing has got to be under $1,400 or $1,300, or it's going to suck. Really. Matt Electron says, I have 5 mini Doges, only good for space heaters. Listen, the mini Doge 3 that they sent me, the custom miner that I'm going to keep forever, which I think is the greatest thing ever, the mini Doge 3 Pro at, what does it cost now? At $759. You have to have a power level of like 9 cents or less for it to be profitable. But it's a great space heater. So mine is on and it is mining, but I am using it to mothball my shed to keep the humidity down. So that is why I have mine on. And it's like, and I'm borderline breaking even. I'm losing a little bit. I'm losing a few bucks, but the way I look at it as it's keeping my shed mothballed properly. And if Doge I'm holding, right? So if Doge goes up and Litecoin goes up, I'm doing good. But yeah, the mini Doge 3 miners, I wouldn't recommend buying them. I honestly wouldn't. I wouldn't recommend buying them. Like, if we're really being serious, I can't, in good conscience, recommend the AL Box 2 at $2,100. I think it costs too much. I think at $1,300, the AL Box 1 costs too much still. I can recommend the KA Box Pro at $479. I think it's good as a heater in the winter, and I think it's still profitable. So I can recommend that. But that's it. I mean, but if you did buy, but here's the thing. If you bought an AL Box 2 right when they dropped it and gave you another one, and if you bought one right when I told you you should buy one at $2,700, my yield calculations have shown that you'll be okay as long as the price of lithium goes up. Zayo, what's up? He said I saw one for AL. He saw an AL box for 150, but it was a scam. Yeah, absolutely, it was probably a scam. So again, like I said, it all comes down to price. But, you know, happy 5-year to Goldshell. I think it's cool that they've been up for 5 years. And, like, you don't want Goldshell to fail. We don't want these ASIC companies to fail. It's good for everybody when they're going. It's good for the coin. We get more miners. It's good for, certainly good for me. But it's good for the coin, I think, as well. Tego Santos says, just buy 1,400 in Caspa. Look, it's always better to buy the coin usually, but there are so many things that go into it, right? I will never buy the coin over the hardware. A, I like hardware better. B, I get the write-off with the power and with the electric, and I get the write-off with the hardware. C, I have an asset, whether it depreciates or not. You know the ASIC game, guys. You got to buy an ASIC, you got to mine with it for a bit, and then you got to sell it to try to make some of your money back. And then you usually will do well if the coin does well, right? So, like, it makes so for all of those things, that's why I like buying the hardware better. But I'm not going to tell you that if you just buy the coin, you're better off. But then at that point, it's just speculative gambling, and I don't get a lot of the tax benefits or the write-offs and etc. And if you have more than one business, write-offs help. Sometimes, like if look, sometimes it's better just to buy it. You can't buy Caspa and not pay that money to the government. You can spend money on hardware and not pay that money to the government if you're in the US. So there's a lot of things that go into buying the hardware, right? Tago says the problem is that Caspa 8.6 have a narrow profitability window. They do, right? Caspa ASICs have like a year's window to be relevant, maybe a little longer depending on the ASIC, right? Which means that as I talk to people, like when I got the info for this ASIC, the first thing I did was I went and asked people what their opinions were on Caspa ROI. Obviously I'm NDA'd on this stuff, so I can't say anything, but I asked people what they thought. And so basically, a 4-month ROI time at the current Caspa price comes out to about a 6-month ROI time when you take into account all the BS that goes with it. And that gives you six to 8 months to profitably mine and then wait for the Caspa price to pump. So that's where I kind of got my idea for the current price I think it needs to be at. We will start to see companies launching them very fast now. They have to. Yeah, that's gonna be a tough one. Like, companies are gonna be launching these ASICs really fast, and then they're gonna be sending them to people to review, and then reviewers are either gonna tell you they like it or they don't, and then it's up to you to buy them. But at the end of the day, guys, like, it's up to you to think what's best for you. Don't give in to the FOMO, right? Like, there are people who do this. They're like, ASIC companies are a business, okay? Crypto tubing is a business. Like, I love doing this and this is fun, but I'm trying to make money off of it. So, like, if I get a product to review, I'm going to give you my honest thoughts on it. But at the end of the day, you have to be like, well, would Cryptman have bought this? And I'm going to try to say that in some of my reviews and whether or not I would have bought it or not. But I think one of the things is that Cryptman's really cheap and he doesn't buy a lot of things. So it's hard for me to say whether I would buy it, but there are a lot of other people out there who are more bullish than me who would buy certain things. So when I do my reviews, I'm going to try to like just tell you about I'm going to try to give you the hardware. I'm going to try to show you how much they make. And then I'm going to say whether or not I would buy it. But at the end of the day, you have to do your own research on all this stuff. Zhao says, I'm happy with my bags and home ASICs. I'm about to hit one of those PCSP octo miners. Look, the GPU mining is a hobby too for some people that can make them some money, which is also nice as well. Let's see. I'd rather have a gang of ultras. So I will say this, right? The KS0 Ultra is definitely a little bit more efficient, right? But the KA Box Pro does way more. Like, it gives you currently, right? It's double the price for triple the hash. Double the price for triple the hash, right? And the heat is, you actually want the heat, I would think right now, because winter will be here before we know it. And that is how these things will help pay for themselves, is by offsetting the heat as well. Zhao says, I love that you admit it, a lot won't. Look, here's the thing. These companies aren't going to work with me if you're not going to follow me. So if more followers I get, the more people trust me, the more companies will help me, will work with me. And when companies work with me, I get paid. So whether or not they like, look, any of these companies I work with, they have to let me be honest, right? And I will be honest with you. Like, there are products that I really, really like, whether or not they're profitable or not, right? Like, this mini Doge 3 that has my logo on it, I love it. I think it's the coolest miner ever, and it makes me so happy. But I literally had to title the review the most biased review on the planet, and I told you not to buy it, but I love it. So it's like a balancing act I have to walk. Current Caspa circulating supply is 24 billion. So look, the one thing I will say about Caspa and the current supply and the market cap, right? The more big time miners get into this thing, the more you'll, like, if they start, it'll be interesting to see if, like, these big miners that are buying, are they going to start selling it daily to turn it into Bitcoin? Which would make sense, right? Because if they believe in Bitcoin, it is literally more profitable to buy a Caspa miner than to buy a Bitcoin miner. But at the same point, right, for these ASIC companies to have people still buying these Caspa ASICs, one, Caspa still has to be profitable. And two, that Caspa has to resist the sell pressure, or these big companies are going to lose a lot of money. So I think you're going to see Caspa. This is not financial advice, and this is just my opinion. I think you're going to see a lot of things propping Caspa up, because it is in the best interest of the big Bitcoin miners and the ASIC manufacturers for the Caspa to have it's price held steady, right? And then you're going to see a lot of traders trying to take advantage of it. And I think you should. You're going to see anybody who's bought a Caspa ASIC since they've came out holding their Caspa, because unless you were like me, like, look, my KS zeros, I made a crap ton of money on my KS zeros. I'll just show you how much Caspa I mined on them. These are the ones I actually bought with my own money. I think I mined 60,000 Caspa. So, like, this is how much I have in Caspa for my KS zeros, right? So, Tiago says, I think there's 1 year. No, there's more than 1 year of Caspa left. Let me show you. Caspa mining emissions. Here's the schedule. So there's a lot more than 1 year left. The rewards are going to go down, right? So we are in, we're in 2024. So right now we're in the second year. I actually just hit a few blocks of Caspa. You'll see a video on that tomorrow, I think, or the next day. I've only got about 5 more minutes left on the stream, by the way, guys. But let me show you. We're in 2024. So we're in the third year, right? So we're like right here. Okay? 34. So, right, we theoretically have like 4 more years left of Caspa mining. And 4 or 5 more years is an eternity, right? Hey guys, remember, please hit that sub button, smash that like button too, please. This is me trying to be the most biased person I can be. So we've got about 5 years left of Caspa mining, but like, look at the block rewards right now. So block reward right now is 92 Caspa, right? We got way more than 5 more years, but like, so we're in, where did I highlight? We're in the third year of it, right? Caspa blocks are going to go down to sub 1 Caspa in 2030. So the price of Caspa's got to do something. And I think it's in a lot. Look, the game is rigged. Don't kid yourself if you don't think the game is rigged. The whole point of this is to play the game and try to make the most money that you can off of it, right? So I think the price of Caspa's got to go up. Or, like, there's too many people with too much money to lose on these things. And if you have Marathon and these big companies investing a ton of money into these ASICs, if these ASICs all of a sudden go from making like all right, so like you figure these ASIC companies that are doing this, right? They've probably got like 4 cents power, right? So what is it? Hold on. What are the Bitmain? Where did I go? Let's go back to 0.4 cents. I'm going to finish this thought and then I'm going to head out of here. So an X21, let's just say they have the S21s are making $9 a day at 4 cents, right? They're making $34 a day with the other ASICs. So they're making way more. So these ASICs, if Caspa's price tanks, then these ASICs suddenly make no money. And that would be bad for business and bad for shareholders. Nobody's going to let that happen, if you ask me. Backwards, hey, Zal, thank you so much for the tip. I really, really appreciate it. They go back, all the tips you do go back into the stream. And I really, really appreciate it for the kind words. Thank you so much. Tago says, oh, but without some kind of use case, the rewards at this price will be really, really low. So I'm not going to tell you that Caspa doesn't need a use case. And I definitely think there is some utility with Caspa. But I think for at least the next 1, 2, 3 years, maybe, there are too many institutions that have too much money to lose to let Caspa's price go down. And that's just my opinion. Oh man, if Caspa gets above $1, whew, that would be nice. Is Caspa going to go above $1? Not financial advice. I totally think it could be. Alex, it could be anything. So I've been talking to some of my friends. I'm doing crypto taxes most of today, which is why I got to jump off the stream. I'm going to go for another 5 minutes, and then I am going to jump off. Altered Component says $800 for 4x Ultra to get 1.6 terahash, or $479 to get 1.6 for the KA box, but 200 watts more. You're probably, yes. So you can overclock the Ultras. I don't think you should overclock the Ultras. I wouldn't do it. I don't recommend it. That's just my opinion, though. I don't like using laptop bricks either. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I actually think that, like I said, I think the KA Box Pro is a pretty good buy at this price. Probably do some coverage on it. Yeah, Alex, I knew it was you by telling you. I haven't talked to that many people today, so I knew it was you. Please smash that like button, hit that sub button, by the way, guys. Anybody has any final closing thoughts on the Goldshell ASICs? We didn't get to what I wanted to talk about with CPUs. Maybe I'll go live stream tomorrow and we can talk about that then. We had a lot to talk about. I mean, you know, this is going to be a make or break moment for Goldshell, okay? This is going to be a make or break. If they price these ASICs right, I think they'll do great. I think that they understand that they need to price these ASICs right. I really believe they do, or they would have announced a price. I really think that they do. Now, I would wonder how much money they have on R&D that they need to make it back. But I think if they're using this as a chassis, right? Because look like all the KA boxes and all that stuff, they're all the same thing, right? Look at these. Like some of them have 3 plugs, some of them have 2 plugs. But like if they base an lithium chassis off of this, like if they did all the big R&D work and you end up with like, I don't know, if Bitmain's 15 terahash, if you end up with like a 5.5 terahash lithium miner and they price it right on this chassis, I think it could be gangbusters. I really do. Zhao says, I don't know where to start with what to mine. That would be a great video. I have about 130 while it's cold and it's such a headache. Yeah, you know, maybe I will do a video on crypto taxes, honestly. I know a lot of people do it, and a lot of people don't like to do it, to talk about it, but, you know. As a pirate, I actually think that I'm going to pick up a 9950 or a 9900 for content, and you get Space Marine for free. And I love Space Marine, By the way, huge Warhammer 40k fan. Obviously, you can probably tell from my name. I will probably start live streaming Space Marine too. Like, I'll probably do some live streams where I'll talk crypto while live streaming Space Marine. Like, I was thinking about it, and I was like, I can live stream more, but I want to, like, do other things because, like, just focusing on it is kind of difficult. So maybe we'll do something like that. Backwards Miner says, ordering some Epics and Xeons soon. Yeah, look, we'll do a stream tomorrow where we just talk about CPU mining as long as I can. I'm no rabid, but I can give you a different perspective on it. Anyway, guys, I got to run. Thank yous out for the tip. I really appreciate everyone who supports me. Look, I got to give a thanks to Goldshell. They've been really helpful to me. We've been working together, and I mean, you know, being a sponsor is great. So I really appreciate it. Space Marine 2, it's going to be a great game, guys. It's going to be a real great game. BP says crypto tax is definitely something that's not widely covered. Maybe I'll cover it more. Maybe I'll do a video on it, guys. But yeah, I will be live streaming some Space Marine when it comes out. We'll talk crypto. We'll talk Space Marine. Huge Warhammer 40k fan, guys. Huge Warhammer 40k fan, actually. So anyway, guys, that's it for me. Please like and subscribe. I really appreciate everybody tuning in. This was in podcast format, so I hope people can listen to it again. We'll do a CPU stream tomorrow. We'll talk some more. I got a lot of exciting stuff coming up. Thank you guys for watching. It is back to crypto taxes for me. Leave me some kind words. Pray for me. No other video today. Hopefully a video tomorrow, and I think it'll be a pretty good one. So thanks again. I love seeing this. It's just cool. Look, it's just nice when you get recognized by brands, and it's nice to start working with brands. It makes all the hard work worth it.